Hello, class. Welcome to our third week. We are going to be talking about different styles of punishment and why we punish. It's an interesting topic that we'll get into deeper as the week goes. This week, you have a paper, an ethical dilemma paper due about a domestic violence scenario, which is always a good topic. I look forward to this week every time I teach this semester because it brings out some interesting perspectives and backgrounds and opinions. So I really enjoy reading your papers, especially this week. So I look forward to seeing yours. And as always, we have a discussion post this week. Uh, but outside of the logistics of the week, I wanted to take just a few minutes and talk about punishment, talk about why we have a penal system. Uh, what is it meant to do? What are the goals of the penal system? And it breaks down into, there are several reasons why societies have chosen to punish offenders. I'm just going to go into just a couple of them tonight. First of all, there's the most obvious reason. The book calls it retribution. That's just punishment for the sake of punishment. Somebody has wronged society or wronged a person in society, and so that person deserves to be punished, whether that punishment is a fine or incarceration. When you put somebody in prison, it's not pleasant, so it is a punishment. So if they have wronged society in a way, then according to the doctrine of retribution, they deserve to be punished in a way. The second is deterrence. And I liken deterrence to almost a parenting style. If you see a child do something they shouldn't do, sometimes you have to punish that child so they don't do it again, so that they think about it next time. If you give them a swat on the bottom, then they're going to think, well, if I don't want a swat on the bottom, then I won't do that thing. That's exactly what deterrence is when it comes to society and the penal system. If you have rules that you've agreed as a community that people need to follow, then if a person doesn't follow those rules, then there is some sort of sanction that needs to be placed. And the sanction is not pleasant. And so it is just essentially a choice by the offender. Would I rather offend and risk that punishment, that sanction, or would I rather just follow the rules? And that's what deterrence is. I'm pretty sure a couple weeks ago we spoke about Jeremy Bentham and the rational choice theory that he developed. That's essentially what deterrence is. People choosing. It's seeking pleasure over pain, punishment being pain. The third one I wanted to talk about tonight is incapacitation. The theory behind incapacitation is different than deterrence, and it's different than retribution. Essentially, when a community or a society decides that we're going to put people in jail to follow the theory of incapacitation, they're saying, if I put this person in prison, if I imprison this person, they're unable to commit crimes. So if a person is so dangerous that we can't stop them, we can't change their mind, they won't adhere to the rational choice theory, somebody just needs to be put away from society merely to protect society, not so much to punish the offender. That's what incapacitation is. There are some limitations to incapacitation because on the surface, it seems perfect. If you put every criminal, if a certain percentage of society is going to break the law and you put the entire portion of that society imprisoned, then there should be no crime, on the surface. But obviously it doesn't work that way. There are legal reasons why we can't do that. And then there are also some philosophical and theoretical reasons why incapacitation doesn't work. For instance, you would think that if you put half of the car burglars in jail, they're incapacitated, then car burglaries would go down by 50% on the surface. But it doesn't work that way. Studies have shown that it doesn't go down 50% because the car burglaries that would have been committed by the person that's in jail are just being committed by somebody else now. So maybe there are less people committing the crimes, but the crime rate doesn't always go down. So an interesting perspective when it comes to thinking about incapacitation. The final topic I wanted to talk about isn't necessarily a reason for punishment, but it's a style of punishment, a style of sentencing. That's restorative justice. We're going to talk about that in your discussion board posts And if you want to include it in your ethical dilemma papers, by all means, I encourage it. But restorative justice is not necessarily putting somebody in jail because they need to be punished, or because you need to protect society, or because you're trying to stop them from committing crimes in the future. It is a way to bring an offender and a victim and all of society together for the good of society. Uh, the example that I've used in the past is, if somebody stole $100 from you, would you rather see that person go to jail, or would you rather have your $100 back? Would you rather be restored? And that's an oversimplified version of restorative justice, but it gets the point across. You know, victims oftentimes are less concerned with retribution and punishing the offender than they are in being made whole. They essentially, if something is stolen, they want it back. They want to be made, they want to be done right. So looking at other crimes, people may say, well, this doesn't necessarily work. Murder, you can't, how are you going to restore the victim of a murder, child abuse, rape, things like that? That there are certain situations where somebody can't necessarily be restored. But restorative justice isn't eliminated in those situations, because remember, it's not always the victim that's being restored, it's society. So the video, the TED Talk video that you're assigned to watch this week, points it out really well. They talked about murderers being involved in a restorative justice program, wherein they're necessarily just rewiring, by having them do social good, it rewires their brains and helps them think in a different way in the future. While it may not work necessarily for somebody who's in prison for life, it may not benefit society, but maybe it benefits the penal system, the jail culture. If somebody acts in a more desired manner in the jail, then it makes that day-to-day life of the guards and the staff easier. But if somebody, that's a rare occurrence when somebody's in prison for life. You have to remember that most people are going to be released. And so if you can help them see the error of their ways through social systems, rewire that desire to commit crimes, then maybe you didn't make the victim of the crime that sent them to jail whole, but you can help make society more whole if this person doesn't reoffend. So that's kind of what restorative justice. You're trying to make the victim whole, but more importantly, trying to make society whole. Uh, like I said at the beginning of this video, I look forward to reading your papers this week, and also your discussion boards. Don't forget that those are due on Wednesday, so your classmates will have an opportunity to respond, and I'll have an opportunity to respond. And then your responses to your classmates are due by the end of the week. Enjoy your week, and again, reach out to me if you have any questions or issues. Thank you.